Hello, everyone. My name is Kanokwan Sangprasert from Thammasat University, Thailand. It is my pleasure to present this paper today on behalf of Assistant Professor Thirasak Khanchanapong and myself. Our study is titled Understanding the Adoption of AI-Based Emotional Support Tools, a UTA-UT Perspective on ChatGPT Use Among Employees in Thailand. So the background is that the employee burnout remains a serious organizational concern, harming well-being, performance, and retention. At the same time, employees are increasingly using generative AI tools informally for reflection, advice, and coping support. And ChatGPT is especially relevant because it is immediate, accessible, and conversational. However, its adoption in this context in workplace setting remains underexplored. So we use the UTA-UT framework to examine how key adoption factors share employees' use of ChatGPT for burnout support in a psychologically sensitive context where user may also value privacy, immediacy, and emotional safety. So we found three gaps here that we have limited understanding. So first one is the AI for emotional support in workplace burnout settings. And then next is how employees evaluate, adopt, and use the tool. And the last one is how the technology adoption theory applies in psychologically sensitive context. So the study asks, how does UTA-UT influence employees' adoption of ChatGPT as an emotional support tool for mitigating burnout? So the literature review, the first part is emotional support and ChatGPT. So emotional support provides reassurance, empathy, comfort, and acceptance, helping individuals cope with stress and emotional difficulties. In workplace settings where timely support may be limited, alternative channels are becoming increasingly relevant. So for the ChatGPT part, it offers natural language conversation, immediate access, privacy, and broad availability without the setup required, like many specialized mental health chatbots. So prior studies also suggest that it can provide emotionally attentive and supportive responses. However, the concerns remain about advice quality and the weakened human connection. Therefore, ChatGPT may be a valuable supplementary tool, but workplace burnout use remain underexplored. So for the UTA-UT, so it is the unified theory of acceptance and use of technology developed by Venkatesh and colleague in 2003. It is one of the most widely used framework for explaining why people adopt new technologies, including AI systems. It proposes four key drivers, so performance expectancy or how useful it is, effort expectancy or how easy it is to use, social influence or how important people encourage or discourage to use it, and facilitating conditions, which is the resources and infrastructure to use it. So next is the research framework and proposition. So we propose that all four core determinants positively influence the adoption of ChatGPT as an emotional support tool. And because this study is exploratory, the framework also leaves room for emergent insights, particularly whether critical evaluation shapes how usefulness is translated into the actual adoption. The methodology, the study used a qualitative descriptive case study approach. 8 employees from technology companies in Bangkok were selected through the purposive sampling, balanced across gender, age, and job level. All had experience using the paid version of ChatGPT for emotional support, and data were collected through the semi-structured interviews in May 2025 and analyzed using thematic analysis. So the findings generally support all four UTA-UT dimensions. suggesting that employees are willing to adopt ChatGPT as an emotional support tool. First, the performance expectancy was the strongest driver. Participants found that ChatGPT useful for consultation, reflection, coping guidance, and encouragement. However, they did not accept responses blindly. Many filtered and adjusted advice before applying it, especially those with a stronger AI literacy. Next one is the effort expectancy. It was also strongly supported. Most participants found that ChatGPT easy to use because it accepts natural language. However, some noted that better results required more precise prompting, and a few experienced frustration when using the voice function. Next one is the social influence. So it helped normalize the use. Friends, colleagues, and social media exposure reduced the uncertainty and encouraged the trial. And the last one is the facilitating conditions. So mainly enabled access rather than drove adoption. Some used company subscriptions while others paid personally. Overall, usefulness and ease of use were more important than the formal support. So for the overall use of ChatGPT for emotional support, so the participants saw it as a useful for consultation, reflection, guidance, and encouragement, especially when privacy was preferred and no one else was available. And it helped them vent emotions, organize thoughts, and consider next steps. However, they also recognized the clear limits, and they felt that it could not replace genuine human empathy. So it was reviewed as a valuable supplementary tool rather than the substitute for human or professional support. Next one is about the limits and the risk. So the first one is that ChatGPT should not replace human connection, professional support, or existing well-being system. Its roles should remain supplementary. Next is a concern emerged around the psychophancy, over reliance, and social withdrawal, as repeated use may create dependence on AI reassurance. And the last one is the participants emphasize the need to critically evaluate outputs, since responses may sound confident but still inaccurate or impractical. Overall, the ChatGPT can be helpful, but it should be used in a bounded and critical way. And so the finding largely support UTI-UT. However, the UTI-UT needs reinterpretation here. So usefulness also includes emotional reassurance and clarity, while ease of use includes immediacy and smooth conversation. And most importantly, the critical evaluation emerged as a boundary condition. Employees did not adopt ChatGPT automatically, so they first judged whether the advice was okay, was realistic, safe, and appropriate. Overall, ChatGPT appears to have the meaningful and bounded role in workplace well-being. It can supplement support system through immediate and private reflection space, but responsible use depends on the user judgment, organizational guidance, and safeguards that keep AI support connected to human care. Now, the theoretical contributions. So the first one is extends UTI-UT into an emotionally sensitive context where AI is used for consultation, reflection, and coping rather than productivity alone. Second is that it shows that the core UTI-UT constructs remain useful for requiring reinterpretation in this setting. And the last one is the identifies critical evaluation for AI outputs as an important boundary condition, as user did not adopt ChatGPT automatically, but assessed whether responses were realistic, safe, and appropriate. And the practical implications. So three parts here. The first one is for the employees. ChatGPT may be useful for supplementary support, for reflections, for stress journaling, and initial coping consultation, but it should not replace professional or human support, and employees should be aware of the set risks while using it. And for organizations, it may complement existing well-being initiatives like employee assistance program if supported by clear boundaries, such as having the AI literacy training and guidance on safe use for employees. And for AI developers, emotional support features should promote balanced engagement, preserve users' agency, and include safeguards against unhealthy dependence. For the limitations and future research, so the small sample size in this research, and the findings are exploratory rather than broadly generalizable. And participants are from different companies, limited analysis of shared organizational influences. So future research should use a larger mixed method, quantitative or longitudinal designs. And future studies should examine how UTI-UT factors interact with the critical evaluation and well-being outcomes across industries and cultures. All right, that's it. Thank you.